Hi, I'm Laura Stutzman. About 3 months ago, the debate on fracking in Garrett County became truly public, and since then, I think our community is finally beginning to wrap its brain around the winds of change that may be facing us and formulating our opinions about whether we're ready, whether we'll ever be ready for it, and if we want it at all. Lots of meetings, lots of discussions, and I've met a lot of really great people I didn't know before. And so I'm happy about that. But I've also been thinking about the people who have come before me and how they would react to this idea of fracking if they were brought up to date 100 years, 150 years of information would really help them to understand. But if they were standing here now and they knew and heard what we were being told about fracking, how offensive would it be to the visionaries who have come before us, especially the visionaries who conceived of creating Deep Creek Lake and harnessing sustainable hydroelectric power from nothing, from an idea, a really forward-thinking plan with such hope and potential that, by the way, we still are realizing every day that we live here. My great-grandfather had a hand in that plan. His name was Henry Wheeler McComas, Dr. Henry McComas. In family lore, he's known to us as Papa. And he was the kind of country doctor that came to your house and delivered your baby on the kitchen table, or maybe your appendix, depending on what was needed. But he was also a state senator and an outdoorsman and a guy who traveled out west many times, which is interesting that he did that in the late 1800s and early 20th century. He was well-traveled. He was also mayor of Oakland several times. I'm not sure how many, at least 2 or 3. But I think in this discussion, most notably, he was a member of the State Conservation Commission. And he is credited with personally stocking the lake with the first population of trout, which is impressive, and I think that's really great. But I don't fish, so it's not doesn't mean the same thing to me as some other stories that I know about him. There is one story about Papa that fascinated me and really molded my concept of him being, where he gets his great man credentials. And that is one about, at the time, there was an over-the-counter remedy that was used. It was a salve, and it was used to relieve congestion, chest congestion. And it was very popular and just slightly habit-forming. But it was formulated originally for children and was considered very safe for kids. But he noticed that people were using it excessively, and that when they did eventually come to his office and he talked with them, it became clear to him that many people were overestimating its power for healing. So he imposed some stopgap restrictions on the product in drugstores locally until he would be able to educate the public as to the dangers of treating themselves and their children for pneumonia with Vicks VapoRub. And this was the fastest way to enlighten them and very possibly save lives, and very possibly the lives of children. If fracking comes here, it will impose itself upon each of us, regardless of what our handle on common sense is, or however keenly aware we are of the scars that it may leave on the landscape and on our lives, scars that may never heal. At this point, I think it's really reasonable to say that it's a dangerous practice at this point in time, and that it threatens our well-being on many, many levels. So please help us. Don't frack Maryland. Thank you.